Hi everyone, this is Angus from MindKits, and today we're going to be talking about Wargamer Resin. I've been looking at this resin for a little while now, and I have some thoughts, and I'm taking this as an opportunity to reach out to the community and see what people think, because I'm kind of at a loss. We've been considering bringing this in, and we're just not sure. So that's why I'm making this video, because I think it would be interesting to get feedback from you guys out there in the printing community. What do you think about this? Is this something that you would like to see? So, this is a resin that's very heavily promoted online. It's run, I think it was set up by a bloke that goes by the name of Wargamer. If you're into resin at all, you've no doubt heard of him. He's a very big player in the resin space, and he markets this as the be-all, end-all for wargaming miniatures. And on top of that, this stuff is actually water washable. Those two things typically don't go together. Typically, water washables are really brittle, and in the miniature hobby, we're looking for something with some give to it, some flex, because things get, we're not putting these on shelves. We're taking them to tournaments, we're painting them, we're dropping them off tables, things happen. They get roughed about a bit, and so durability is a huge concern when it comes to the resins that we choose to print our miniatures from. And so the claims they were making were pretty bold, very bold, and before we started bringing this in, it was obviously important that we tested it. And, well, I have thoughts, and this is where we need your help. So, let's just go over everything as I've seen it, that I've experienced, and yeah, I'd really love to hear what you guys have to say. So, first of all, the, packaging is very nice. It's, strong branding going on here. Not that that matters, but, it's still nice that they put a little bit of effort into it. The design of the bottle is quite good. You've got a very wide-mouthed bottle, which makes putting your resin back in the bottle very easy. I've always disliked those really small lids that the generic resin bottles have, so it's always good when you get these. Packaging-wise, it comes wrapped in plastic in a box. I would have liked to have seen some bubble wrap or something. Sunlu does that with their resins. They're bubble wrapped, bagged, and then boxed. It just adds a little bit of extra insurance. It would have also been nice to see a few extras in the box. I've seen it's quite common now that you usually get a couple filters in the box with your resin. No such thing here, no frills, it's just the resin. And, well, let's just talk about that resin itself, shall we? So, they are very, very, very clear about the instructions. They have very particular, quite unusual instructions that I've never seen before, and I kind of don't agree with. We'll get to that. But they really, really, really want people to print these in a very particular way, and it is kind of strange. So, in terms of odor, it does have one, but it's a new one. It's not one that I'm used to from your typical resins. It's not very strong, but it kind of smells like pine. Pine mixed with cancer. Just a bit weird, but yeah, it does have a smell, so if you're sensitive to that, this may not be for you. In terms of the print quality you're getting, it's pretty good. So I brought a model out here, hopefully this focuses, and you can see, I tried to just do the most detailed thing I had, and as you can see, it handled it like a champ. In terms of how it actually prints, it prints beautifully. Zero print failures using this stuff, and I mean that's a very large model, and then I've printed very small models too. Come on, focus, there we go. Very small models have come out lovely as well, and even less detailed stuff where there's less places to hide the crimes, so to speak, nice and smooth, still coming out beautifully. So in terms of the print quality, it's a showstopper in terms of the finish of the resin, the appearance of the resin. It looks beautiful. They make the claim that their resin is made to replicate Games Workshop plastic. In terms of appearance, I would say that's absolutely true. This looks and kind of feels like, the standard high-impact polystyrene that Games Workshop use. So, that's quite cool. I don't know how they've done that, but yeah, it's neat. But then we get on to, after printing, the post-processing. So, Wargamer's own instructions are very, very sensitive and very particular. So they want you to not use a wash and cure. They don't want you to immerse your prints in water or alcohol, however you choose to clean it. They want you to use a spray bottle and to take the prints and use the force of the spray itself to remove the resin. I'm a very safety conscious person when it comes to resin, probably more than most, and I consider that borderline insane, if I'm being honest with you. You're going to be casting contaminated resin vaporized in either alcohol or water throughout your workspace, and that's just not acceptable to me. So I set about doing it their way for testing, and then trying to figure out how to make it work with the printers that we actually sell. So that would be the Uniformation GK3 Pro that I've been doing it with, and I wanted to find a workflow that worked in the Uniformation workflow. And of course, Uniformation has a wash station, and I want to use it because I like them. I don't care if they don't clean any better than by hand. They are just reducing the amount of time that a wet, uncured print is exposed to open air and the amount of time that you're touching it. And that's why I like them. So they recommend no more than a minute. I tried several different times in the wash station. I eventually settled on 5 minutes, 30 seconds to wash. That got the part nice and clean. The second part of their instructions heavily emphasizes keeping this stuff dry and getting it dry before curing. So in the spirit of that, I set up a plastic tray with my prepared prints after washing and after removing supports, and I used my airbrush to blow all the water off as much as I possibly could and got them bone dry. That took quite a bit of time actually to get right, but I did get there. You could probably also use a hairdryer. I just didn't have one to spare, and my partner would probably get very cross with me if I borrowed hers for this purpose. So I just stuck to the airbrush, I cranked the pressure up, and just blew the moisture off that way, and that worked. And then I did an 8.5 minute cure. The results between doing it their way versus doing it my way, there was very little difference. So I'm content with doing it my way, and I will continue to, and I recommend that if you go out of your way to purchase this, you do it my way. Please don't put yourselves in danger unnecessarily. That is such an old-fashioned way of cleaning prints, and quite frankly, if that resin could only be cleaned by their methods to get the optimal properties out of it, I would consider it a failure, to be honest. You have failed at creating a good resin product. But thankfully, that's not the case. 5.5 minutes wash, aggressively dried with compressed air, 8.5 minute cure, fine. I could tell no difference in the properties between that and my method. So, the mechanical properties themselves, what have we got going on here? Well, I was disappointed. I was actually very disappointed. This is much, much, much less brittle than regular water washable resin. Do not get me wrong, this stuff does have give to it, but it is still brittle. I would say if your standard like ABS-like resin, Sunlu ABS-like that a lot of you miniature printers will be familiar with, if that's a 10 in this imaginary toughness scale, I would give this a 7, and I would give standard water washable resin like a 2. So this stuff's still brittle. Features like this, this Trident here, they will break if you try, and you don't have to try hard. Will this survive a drop off a table? Yeah, it probably will. Occasionally, it's 50-50 whether or not this will survive, but there is more of a chance that this survives than a regular water washable. So this is where you guys come in, because my perspective here is a little bit warped. The resin that I use personally for myself to print miniatures is Sunlu High Toughness. And that's kind of an impossibly high bar to compare a water washable of any kind to, because with high toughness, I could take this entire stuff, bend it all the way back, and it would ping back into place. It's on another level. And because it's on another level, in terms of toxicity, in terms of fumes, in terms of the amount of alcohol you need, it's quite a lot more hazardous, let's just say. But I know that there are a lot of people out there that just will not touch anything to do with alcohol, and they need something accessible to them, and I completely understand it. That is totally valid. So if you have to use a water washable, this is great stuff. If you're looking for something that gives you really good detail, this is good stuff. But if you're looking for the most durable, perfect miniature resin, you're not going to find it here. But you're going to get sort of close. So, with that all in mind, I would just like to hear what you guys think. Would you guys like to see this in New Zealand? Is this something that would be beneficial to you? Are water washable resins important to you? And yeah, just give us your thoughts. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, see ya.